everybody. It is tournament day. I'm getting ready to play in my second Disc Golf Pro Tour event of the year, the New World Championships up here in Jacksonville, Florida. If you saw the last video, this is the course that we reviewed. This is gonna be a little bit different of a video, just to show you what it's like being a regional local pro, coming and traveling and playing a pro tour event. Just want to kind of highlight where things stand for those of us who aren't on the road, but still enjoy coming out and competing. Wish me luck. So you got the main bag, the backup bag, a couple extra discs. I pretty much only ever really used what's in this bag, but every now and then after a round, if I don't like the way things were, or if I need a replacement, I got the backup bag with me. Pre-round meal, Waffle House, standard. We got Chris Barber on the vlog. Say what's up.
What's up?
All right, just got the pre-round meal in. When I travel, I like to try to find a Waffle House. It's nice and quick, not too filling. Give me a little bit of energy going into the round. Let's go get it. Well, let's talk about round one. So, first off, the course looks fantastic. If you watched the last review and the last video we did previewing the course, basically the same as when I played it about a month ago. There were a couple slight changes that they added, some a little bit looser OB on one or two holes, tighter OB on a couple of the others, and then pushed some pins to add a little bit more challenge. Overall, if you followed the event, right now through round one, the leaders are sitting at 9 under par, and then a slew of players at 8 under par. I personally did not have the greatest round ever, but having not really touched the disc since I shot that video almost 3 weeks ago, I really don't have too much to complain about. Started off a little shaky, had actually a pretty easy par putt on hole 1 that just kind of rimmed out, and then on hole 2 basically had a tap in for birdie that I doinked right off the front of the cage. After that, no real major issues. Honestly, I was surprised at how well I was driving the disc, considering I really haven't been practicing or throwing in several weeks. But the putter did let me down a little bit. I really didn't have any good looks from C2. Everything was coming best case scenario, edge on C1. Even had an opportunity to knock down a birdie putt on hole 18 there at the end. Would have been one of the few birdies on the day, actually. So in the end, not overly disappointed right now. I think the round when I last checked was coming in at around 975. That's about where I'm rated right now. And again, for someone who is playing on average 1, maybe 2 rounds a week, nothing to really hang my head about too much. Tomorrow's card, I don't know anyone that I'm playing with, so that'll be interesting. It's always fun to meet new golfers. Teeing off at 11:30, so a little bit nicer than the 9:41 tee time that I had today. The weather is supposed to be significantly better both tomorrow and then leading into Sunday, so scoring conditions should be ideal. I now have a competitive round on this track under my belt, and so I'm expecting to shoot a little bit better. Just to give you an idea, since I'm by myself, there's not really going to be a whole lot of videos of me throwing. I may take some videos of some of my card mates. But overall, hope you're enjoying the video, and hopefully I can shoot a little bit better for you guys the next 2 days. All right, so round 2, I'm sitting here charging the car before I start making my way back to the Airbnb. Round 2 went better today overall. I started off yesterday, I was 2 over through 5 holes, I think. Today I was actually 1 under through those first 5 holes, so already starting off great. Had a couple real nice par saves, some long putts. Hit a real long putt actually on hole 3 to get my first birdie of the day, and then you just kind of chug along from there. Mostly boring golf, a lot of pars. Didn't really have a ton of opportunities for birdie, and then towards the back really started to kind of pick it up. Some great drives here and there. Took the birdie on 15. Was the only member of my group to make the island actually. Had a good opportunity for another birdie on 16. And then basically at that point I was sitting at 3 under, told myself, don't try to do anything fancy. Just play smart. Get out of here with a 3 under, which would have been one of the better rounds on the day. And instead I ended up going out of bounds off the tee on 17. Was able to get up and down to save bogey there, and then took a double on 18 after a really bad fortune of luck landing on the OB golf green. But all in all, was very pleased with the performance. Pretty much perfect putting from inside the circle and about 33% putting C2. Excellent stats. Right now coming in at about a 990 rated round. I'll have the score down here for you so you can take a look at how I did hole to hole. But 1 more day left. Obviously I'm nowhere near the opportunity to get a win. However, I do have a chance at sneaking into the cash. I'm only 2 or 3 strokes out, so if I play really well, hopefully we can walk away with cashing at my first Pro Tour event, which will be really, really cool. Anyway, we will see you tomorrow. fast forwarding a couple days since the event, I was on the road pretty much immediately after the tournament. We actually stayed around to watch the lead card finish up. Saw Paul take down his first silver event win, which is kind of crazy to think about that he hasn't actually won a silver event before, but you know, that's kind of what happens when the sport is still growing. We're still establishing new events and new tiers of competition. But I wanted to just touch base and give you a final breakdown of how the last day of competition went and how I ended up finishing. After round one, I kind of dug myself in a pretty big hole. Again, not overly surprised considering the fact that other than one relatively useless practice round, I really hadn't touched a disc in about 3 weeks leading into the event. In fact, that came in at 4 over par after missing 2 very, very makeable putts in the first 2 holes. It took me a while to kind of recover from that. The score reflected it, and I really just kind of struggled throughout that first round. The second round, I picked things up. The weather was slightly better in terms of the fact that it was warmer, but I will be honest that I honestly thought conditions were maybe a little worse and that it was windier throughout most of the round. I was able to clean up a couple things. I played a little bit smarter. I was more confident in my throws off the tee, and as a result, I was actually 3 under par through 16 holes. Unfortunate bit of luck on 17 and then really bad luck on 18 to finish with bogey, double bogey, which wiped away all of those birdie strokes, leaving me at even par for that round. Still 4 over for the event. Not terrible, sitting kind of in the middle of the pack. That night, I kind of thought about things, realized that I had a good opportunity to actually finish in the cash if I were to either not lose strokes or gain a couple in that final round. So really kind of buckled down, came up with a good game plan, which was more or less the same game plan I had in round 2. That was to be confident in my throws and commit to putts, which was really the thing that killed me in the first round. So starting off in the third round, and I'll kind of show the scores down here at the bottom for you so you can see what things look like. Started off, didn't throw a particularly good tee shot, unfortunately, but was able to get up and down for par. Hole 2, probably the only hole, honestly, all weekend I'm really upset with myself for not doing better with. I threw a perfect tee shot all 3 rounds, left myself birdie putts all 3 rounds, and did not capitalize a single time to finish basically par on that hole for the whole weekend. Stepped up to hole 3, hit another big birdie putt, similar to how I did in round 2. This one was slightly more obstructed than the first one, but it went down to put myself to 1 under par. Hole 6, I was trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but the wind changed compared to how I'd been the first 2 days. As a result, even though I had a pretty good position after my second shot to go for the green, I elected to lay up once again as I did the first 2 rounds, walked away with my par. Probably one of the few competitors other than the top guys to not card an OB stroke or a bogey on that hole. That hole was playing as the toughest pretty much all weekend. I think it was the second most difficult round 1, but was the most difficult both rounds 2 and 3. Hole 10, this was a bit unfortunate. Finally actually fully committed to the drive, absolutely bombed it off the tee, but unfortunately it carried a little too far to the right and I went out of bounds beyond the creek. Was able to then throw a fantastic shot from about 415 feet back to within about 10 feet, canned that circle 1 putt to save par. Hit yet another miraculous birdie putt on hole 6 from deep in the circle 2 on the elevated pin. I was very proud of that putt. And then from there, just kind of coasted. Unfortunately, missed the double mando once again on hole 15. Just wouldn't commit to that shot really all weekend, even when I did make the island in round 2. Not the most confident play, if we're being perfectly honest. Hole 16 had another opportunity for birdie. Nasty spit out, hit a bunch of chains on the right side and just fell out. Such is the nature of golf. It wasn't a perfect putt, so I can't be too mad about it. And then going into 18, I had corrected my mistake on 17, walked away with a par there. Plan was the same for 18. Just play for par, don't do anything crazy. At that point, I knew that I was sitting in a pretty good position, that as long as I didn't do anything absolutely ridiculous, I would have a chance to finish in cash. Through a backhand turnover, similar to how I had the first 2 rounds, this time I pulled it just a little bit right, hit the guardian tree on the right side about midway down the fairway, kicked to the right. I was concerned I was going to miss the Mando, but I was beyond the first. Stepping up to the lie, however, I was so far to the right that the second Mando proved a very difficult obstacle. I more or less just kind of laid up to the left side of the green, the out of bounds ball golf green, that is. This gave me an opportunity to kind of make a run, but it was going to be really far for me to get a chance at getting birdie, so I was really just playing for bogey, playing for par. Unfortunately, even though I picked the right disc, I didn't fully commit. Ended up going way far to the left into the rough. I made the third Mando, but now I was in no man's land, a place that I literally hadn't even seen, even in my practice round. Had to throw a tomahawk, which is, if you ever see me throw a tomahawk, it means I am wildly out of position. But was able to get it to circle 2, actually about 56, 57 feet. Gave it a halfway decent run, but those putts are always kind of 50-50 anyway, and tap in for the bogey. So bottom line, round 3, ended up finishing even par. So that put me at 4 over par for the weekend. And luckily, I was able to slide into the last cash position. Tied for 36th out of 90 competitors, 88 competitors. There were a couple DNFs. But as a result, I get to say that I have now cashed in a silver event, a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, which has been a goal of mine. Again, just because of what I do. It's not like I'm traveling. I really only had 2 opportunities. There was Tallahassee earlier in the year, and then this event. So very proud to say that I was able to walk away with that goal achieved. Were there things I wish I had done better? Absolutely. I think the thing that killed me in round 1 was putting. There's no question about it. The drives felt great all weekend. They could have been a little better. My green and regulation wasn't the best, but it's not like I was shooting myself in the foot off the tee. It was really the putting in round 1 that kind of killed me. I actually shot 100% C1X both rounds 2 and 3. And was 33% C2 in round 2 and 30% C2 in round 3. So the putter, those last 2 rounds, was absolutely phenomenal. And so I'm extremely proud of that, again, considering I practice putting, but probably not as much as I can, considering the fact that I do have a couple practice baskets in the backyard. 36th out of 80 doesn't sound that great, but when you're talking about a silver event where people like Paul Macbeth, Garrett Gerthy, Isaac and Ezra Robinson, Ezra Aderholt, Brody Smith, these guys who are on tour all year, some of the local guys that I know who have also been on tour, Kevin Kiefer, Brandon Latta, shout out to Tipton Sullivan, a kid that is actually from Birmingham, Alabama, my hometown, and now is in college in Tampa with his first top 5 finish in a silver event. So these are not, your standard local pros that you're competing against. These are guys who are either on tour or trying to make it on tour. And so to cash in a field like this, again, not an elite series field, but an extremely good field, I'm extremely proud of that. My biggest takeaways from the event are that I need to get a little bit more confident off the tee in pressure situations. When I'm playing casual rounds, it's not a problem, right? Because I'm not worried about losing strokes here and there. The score doesn't matter. It's much more easygoing for me. I can work on things, and if I shank a shot, no big deal. When the shots count from throw to throw, that's when you get into trouble. That's when it becomes a little bit more nerve-wracking. And even though my game was solid, I was definitely very timid, especially off the tee, and unfortunately on a couple of the approach shots. And that reflected in the score. But again, overall, very happy with how things went. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little peek into what it's like for the disc golf surgeon to go compete in a big time event, a pro tour event. I have no idea when or if there will be another pro tour level event in Florida. I have no reason to doubt that there will be at some point, and I absolutely will do my best to get in on it as long as I am capable. In the meantime, I've got a couple more events left this year. I'm playing a local event, the Lake County Trailblazer, which is on my home course and favorite course, Champions Point out in Claremont, as well as the Green Gauntlet, formerly known as PPP or Palmetto Point up in Eustis, Florida. I then am going to be competing in the DeBerry Open in a couple weeks, and then I'm signed up for, but not sure if I'm actually going to end up playing in the Florida State Championships. That will conclude my 2022 season. Some good, some bad throughout the year, some things to work on, but it's been fun. In terms of the channel, one of the coolest parts about this weekend was not only getting to obviously see some of the guys that you see on DGN coverage every week, throwing and shredding in person, but there were legitimately individuals, some of you guys who came up to me and said, hey, thank you for those videos, because I had no time to practice, and it was great to see this course and get a little bit of perspective, or just I enjoy what you do. And so that's why I do this. That's why I have this channel. That's why I make these videos, is because a lot of times when you're traveling, you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want to go play a course. And yes, disc golf course review is fantastic. UDisc is great in terms of reviews, pictures, and things like that. But sometimes seeing a video and seeing how someone throws a shot or gives you a little insight into what the course actually looks like would really benefit you in deciding, if you only have one round to play, am I going to go to course A or course B? And so I'm glad that you guys are finding some benefit to these videos that I'm putting out. Because of the tournaments that I have coming up, it's going to be a little while before I have another one released. We'll hopefully get Airport Lakes on there, as well as Champions Point. The more pure local courses to me, Bill Frederick, Barnett Park, those will also be on the docket as well. I've been asked about maybe coming to the Tampa area and doing some videos, and I absolutely plan on doing that as well. That's going to take a little bit more figuring out in terms of schedules and things. But we will have more videos to drop. There's plenty of courses in Florida. I love playing new courses and filming that even. So we will see what we run into. If you've watched this video through to the end, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Always make sure that you like and subscribe. If you have any specific requests, specific courses that you want me to talk about, anything you'd like me to add to the videos, just let me know. Leave it in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to accommodate. Again, thanks guys, and we will see you in the next one.